horse. Hi, Rico.
Can't see me then,
Aw.
but you can. Rico's going to give the interview. How's that? Not
That
so good,
sounds
right?
perfect. Okay, I'm going to introduce you. Hi, I'm Tracie Matthews, Master Pilates trainer, dynamic embodiment practitioner, and founder of Intuitive Motion Pilates. I specialize in working with clients suffering from chronic pain and injury recovery. Welcome to my Move Well series on Instagram Live. My guest today is a wonderful somatic practitioner specialized in equine therapy, and her name is Christine Sierau.
Hi.
Christine's going to give us her bio.
All right. I was a non-verbal child when I grew up, and animals made sense to me and people didn't, which is how I got into working with animals and people. My parents lived in Camp Hill Village, as I did, and then started Cadmus Life Sharing, which are both group homes, not places for people to stay, but really living, working homes for special needs people. And so that those two things combined into my interest for working with horses and humans. When I was in Germany, I did not want to work with humans, so I trained horses, but found that if I don't train humans, it doesn't work. And because I have a lot of physical discomforts, I found quickly that my horse wouldn't do what I want unless I addressed those, which brought me at some point to what I'm doing now.
Christine is the lead somatic equine therapist at Blue Rider Stable and owner and amazing trainer that I've been privileged to work with for over the last 6 years, and in the Berkshires, in Massachusetts Berkshires, in South Egremont. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Yeah. And in our recent lesson, you were explaining the difference between therapy and body work and lessons, and you also have a kids camp. So if you can just speak to what you offer there.
So we offer therapeutic riding without having the stigma or necessity to be diagnosed for a disability, an ailment to do therapy. We have children come and adults that just want to learn to have a different relationship with the horse while they're doing recreational riding, which is our lesson program. We have children's camps where we teach the children how to be safely around the horses, because our horses live in a herd and not in boxes or in barns. They live outside in a herd together all the time. And we teach the children how to be herd thought people. We have vaulting, which is gymnastics on horses, so that people can find and identify their body in space. We have therapeutic riding, which is when you have a diagnosis and one comes in and works with the diagnosis and has the horse help, but you're moving an arm or a leg or something to make it better. And then we have body work, where the horse does the work of telling as an instructor what is off in the person, but the person has to fix himself. Fix is a bad word, but the person's energy is what makes the person change and heal, and not the instructor's energy making them move and do.
Yes, and I can attest to the benefits of equine therapy from my own body. It's been hugely successful and really has propelled me. And if I lived closer by, I would be there every week. And you know that.
Yes.
But even going once a year when I can get up to the Berkshires has been tremendously helpful in my healing process. And I do really want to share that. Now we have some horses in the background. Lovely. So they're all beautiful. And also in this image right now, you can see the open barn that you referenced in previously. And I just want to specify that for people because it's unusual. Most barns have pens or boxes where the horses are in their stalls and they don't have a lot of room. And that was the most noticeable thing when I first arrived at Blue Rider Stable, is that the horses are just like they would live outdoors, but they have indoor shade during the winter. Yes, and it's a beautiful pastoral field. And yes, and this is the open barn setup where you can see all the horses are free to roam, but they also work and they participate in the therapy with their energies, and you have and your trainers have this way of communicating with the horses. So if you can explain, because I really think that what you do is you rehab people and the horses, and it's very reciprocal. It's not one-sided in any way. So if you can speak to that a little bit.
So our horses aren't jet skis or downhill skis or something like that. They are living beings that have a lot of input, and their basic need is to be balanced, to be safe. Because if they're balanced and committed to what's going on right now and aware of everything, then if the wolf tries to sneak up on them or something, they're not going to get eaten. They know how to get away. They also live in herds where they have a flick of an ear, and that tells the whole herd that something's moving or doing, and that they have to be aware of it. So they're very, very, very sensitive creatures. One fly lands on them and they shudder their whole body and get off. So we use that, Rico, stay. We use that to be able to see and sense where a person is on their back. And we also at times use people that need, I just have to back up because they all want to look at what I'm holding here. That we use, they're all like, I want to do this. We use their energy. We also use people's energy to help heal the horses' disability in their own body. All of our horses come from lives that may not have been gentle with them, or where they just couldn't stay. Many of them have scarring internally, externally, brain-wise from that. And so our way of using the horses and being with them actually allows them to heal as well. When we give them the opportunity to say that the person on their back isn't quite balanced and they'd like something done with it, and that person reciprocates by doing it, the horse has an experience that makes it more of a partner, more able to speak, and more able to be balanced and comfortable in its own place.
It is this magical kind of experience from my perspective, because it's just so intuitive, the dynamic between you as the trainer, the horse, and me personally in my experience. But I'm assuming that's what most people experience on there. It's just like it's just this thing that happens, and you almost can't put it into words how efficient it is, because for me it's very efficient.
Yes, when a person opens themselves up to that space, it's an incredible journey. There are many people that don't want to go that journey. And so then it doesn't happen as much. It happens, but when one opens up and wants to find that, it's pretty amazing. I just want to show you what just happened here.
Aw. They're all
So-
circling you.
So they all want to be here, right here, talking about what they do, right?
Yes, and they do have beautiful energy. The other thing that I really like about your setup for the lessons is the stairs. I've never seen that anyplace else. And I just think, because you're working with so many people with different injuries and different conditions, that's a brilliant way to get people up on these very tall animals that it could be very awkward to come from the ground or from stepping up on a saddle.
I don't know where they are. My stairs.
That's okay.
That way, right there.
Oh, there they are. Yeah, there they are. And the, what do you call it? And also you train bareback. So
yes, we ride bareback. We also, those stairs are made to mount from the wrong side of the horse. For any equestrian, we get on the incorrect side of the horse to break the pattern of a horse being upset with us getting on or worried about it. And for equestrians to break their habits of getting on hard or one side or something. So we get on the incorrect side. And the rainbow stairs, the colors are just fun. And yes, they get you up without hurting the horse's back, because we ride bareback. We don't want to pull and push on them. And the bareback is so that you can feel the living being underneath you. You feel every breath the horse takes, and it feels every breath you take. And usually your breath synchronizes with your horse's breath, which is pretty awesome always when that happens.
Yeah, it is awesome. And if you could speak to some experiences of working with different conditions that you found were beneficial from the equine therapy that stood out in your memory, what condition did you notice that the equine therapy really, I mean, worked for that condition in that person? I know it's very individualized because, like you said, they have to be open to it.
Yes, so that's always a really hard one for me because if I say we work with CP and it helps, some of my CP clients don't get changed a lot, and others there's a profound difference from day one when they're here. It's hard to pick out one or the other. We have people like the most severe maybe diagnosis would be quadriplegic or failure to thrive or traumatic brain injury maybe, and we always see more able to move, more able to relax, release of tension in the mental emotional state. But that's like with almost everybody that wants to come here on their own. We do have a few clients that don't do that, and those are the ones that are prescribed therapeutic riding, and they just don't even want to get on the horse, and it's just uncomfortable space for them to be in, and they don't want to be in the space.
You know, I've had friends like be like, you're not getting me near a horse, you know, and it surprised me. So it's not for everybody. You know, some people are cat people, some people are dog people, some people are horse people, some people are all of the above. So everyone's got their thing.
I have to say that most of the time when somebody walks in here and sees how calm the horses are, they change their mind. I will have a person who is in their 20s who would not go near a horse come last week because her sister had a really bad car accident and has been riding. So she came and her sister convinced her to touch the horse, and she's coming this week for her first riding lesson. So one can change it if one doesn't push one's own agenda. That's, I think, a big thing. And the horses really don't have an agenda of, I want you on back riding, right? They're happy to stand here listening, give me their feedback, right? So,
Yeah.
so that's the big thing, isn't it?
It is. And going back to your kids camp, how does your kids camp differ from other like horseback riding camps that like people have a general idea of?
Honestly, I don't know because I've never gone to horse camp, but we are non-judgmental and non-competitive. And everything we do is about learning about how the horse feels about it and how to allow us to learn how to navigate that, and then not have to pull on reins or bits, but find a way to reason with the horse that we actually get to a place that we're having fun riding them. Other than that, we don't do bingo. We don't go swimming. We don't do other things. We're just immersed with the horses. It's a working camp. You learn how to take care of a horse and be there with the horse for the 6 or 7 hours that you're here as if it's your own pony, but it's not in a box. You can't close the door and walk away.
Yes. Yes. And and how young are your youngest campers?
We have a 3-hour intensive camp, and that's they can be 4.5, 5. And our 6-hour camp, 6 hours, I think is right now, is 8 and above, 9 and above, I think. Yeah, 8 or 9, depending on how the child presents in their own body, because 6 hours outside with animals is a lot of work.
It sounds like a lot of work. And I know running a farm, a horse farm or ranch is definitely a lot of work. I was wondering, we talked about this briefly before, but if you can speak to how Blue Rider became a non-for-profit and how that works for you.
So Blue Rider has a board of directors. Blue Rider was incorporated not by me, by somebody else. So those are questions that I don't quite know how to answer, because the idea of being not-for-profit was before my time. Being not-for-profit allows us to be in the community differently. The community helps us, we help the community. We're not just a business. There's a giving and taking throughout the people in the community. It helps us be more able to also find scholarships, give scholarships, help the needy. And so that's one of the main reasons that we stay in not-for-profit, is our ability to help more people, which is, there's a different type of raising money, fundraising, things that go with not-for-profit. And so our fee schedule isn't the only thing that makes us money.
No, and I mean, I wanted to highlight that you're a non-for-profit in this chat, because I think it's important for people to know, because they could easily donate to your Blue Rider stables if they were interested in doing that.
Yes.
It is something that you would welcome, I'm sure.
Yes. Two-thirds of our 2/3 of the money that we need to keep these horses going with the care we give them, which isn't just feeding them, but also laser treatments and chiropractics and Chinese herbal medications to get their immune system in order, and acupuncture, and having because it's wear and tear on their bodies when we have so many off balance people sitting on them. And then also being able to invite so many special needs people that cannot afford this type of therapy, and keeping our rates low means that 2/3 of our money comes in through donations and sponsorships.
So I definitely encourage people to look you guys up to see if they're interested in contributing to Blue Rider Stables as a non-profit offering. And also, I just want to share with you, the first day that I came to Blue Rider Stables and I was waiting for my lesson, you were finishing up with a client who was nonverbal, and I just was in awe of how you were firm, supportive, compassionate, and her coach, and just allowed her the time that she needed, and would not let anyone help her, because she had to close the door. And it was her responsibility as part of the lesson to close the barn door. And I knew you were going to be my teacher that moment. It was so great. So
yes,
I just wanted to share.
Everybody has the same rules. Thank you.
And
Everybody has the same rules.
And I thought it was very important for her, for you to, hold the space for her, and not, because her team of people that were there and they were all ready to jump in, and you were like, nope, she has to do it. And she got frustrated, but everyone just backed off, and however long it took, and she did it. And sometimes when you're working with people with injuries or conditions or limitations, patience is the most powerful thing to offer them. And I saw a lot of that. So the other thing I wanted to just talk about is, who would you recommend trying your stables, Blue Rider, your services? Are there any populations that you would really recommend kind of seeking out your services?
I honestly don't know, because I feel like, sorry for all the noise with the car that didn't start and now they're here fixing it. I feel like we are open to whoever feels like they would like to try this space of equine, and then we have to find out what the compatibility is between my staff, myself, my horses are my staff, or the instructor that's with you, whether we can find a language that is comfortable for all of us to speak, so that everybody gets an affirmative out of it, so that it's not like, it should be encouraging and invigorating for everybody. There are people that I feel like I personally am not so able to teach, which is mainly our war veterans, because there's no way that I can even fathom what they've gone through. And I'm not going to be a person that says, oh, I understand you're uncomfortable, or I understand you're going through and let me help you. So I have not worked with that population myself. We have had other people do so. But other than that, I can't say to somebody that's blind, oh, I know what you're going through, but I can blindfold myself for an hour and try and walk in their world and figure out how I can be more helpful than just saying, oh, I know you don't see, let's do this, right? So
Right.
it's about the conversation between whoever walks in the door, my equines, who are really the healers and the people that are working, and myself as mediator. So I don't know.
No, no, that was very informative. The last thing I wanted to touch on, and it kind of goes back to, being a nonprofit and the business end of things, but how have you managed through COVID? I mean, we're still in COVID. It's not over. Are you able to function? Hi there.
He's listening very well, isn't he? He doesn't want his picture, he just wants to listen.
That's fine. So, what changes have you made? How have you adapted, or pivoted? I think that's the word a lot of people use during COVID. We've pivoted.
We've marched ahead. We've had to change a lot here. I usually wear a mask. We wear masks here because many of our clients can't be immunized because we work with a population of young children. So everybody stays wearing a mask. Everybody stays at social distancing. We do our hand sanitizing. We have more paperwork. We have less people in lessons. We can't do 6 in a lesson. We do 4. We can't allow people to just come and enjoy our horses. We have to keep that social distancing. So we definitely have less of an ability to be warm, welcoming, inviting to anybody who wants to walk through the door. We now have to do it all by making an appointment instead of being able to just come and see these guys and hang out with them. That's the biggest, for me, the biggest difficulty, that we have to keep closing doors, saying there's these people here, you can't bring grandma, grandpa, aunt, uncle, and everybody to watch your child ride because there's not enough room, things like that. The other thing that's really difficult is that the horses are the people that are here. It's not us people two-legged that make this business thrive and work, it's the horses. So all of our fundraisers have always been around pony rides and the horses and touching them, and that is not possible now. We can't do big things where people just come. So our fundraising has to change, and I don't quite know how to do that yet. That's been a huge thing. We have had amazing people from the last 30 years that have just upped and donated towards us, saying, I rode there 25 years ago, so I'm just going to help you for $10, $15, whatever, which has helped us through this year and a half. It really has. It's the small donations and many of them, but knowing that we've touched people enough that 25 years later, they're still opening their pocketbook to us gives me amazing hope, and just is so humbling. Yeah, that's what's kept us here, and that's what's going to hopefully keep us going.
And I truly think it will. I mean, what you offer, and and I know that you attribute all the success to the horses, but I will be the testimonial to say that it's also the trainers. You have a wonderful staff. Everyone is always super nice and super on top of whatever their responsibilities are. And the horses are so well cared for, and that comes from the staff.
Yeah.
And from you, as you set the tone of what you expect from everyone that works with you. And I've noticed that from day one. And I hope that this interview and chat, once it gets posted online, will encourage people to seek you out and reach out to you and try and meet, try to schedule something, because everything has to be scheduled now, so they can meet you and try equine therapy for different reasons. We talked briefly, maybe we could just go into it before we wrap up here, about the difference between body work and therapy, because I know that was a really interesting difference for me as you start to heal. I think when I first met you, I was doing therapy, and now I'm doing more body work.
So therapy, we're putting you on the horse and we're using the modality of the horse and the way it works and walks, not works. sorry, Taquito. To move your body and find some way of finding an ease from a non-ability that you bring to us, disability. You're able, but there's just something that isn't quite working, and the horse is going to figure out and fix it. And we use the horse, and if you come 2 or 3 times, we'll modify which horse you're riding, maybe as to.
Oh, hang on a second.
Would work for you better. Yep.
Go back. Your video froze. Modify was the last thing I heard.
Okay. So we modify what we're doing with a horse's body type or something to find a way to bring movement into your body that helps you feel better in whichever way you want to feel better. That's therapy. I'm doing something, and the horse is doing something, and you're the passenger, and it's being done to you. When you're comfortable with that, or when you have an understanding of your body, or you start saying, well, it tweaks here, and where does it come from? Then we can start using your feeling of what you go through to connect to how the horse is carrying you. And if you modify your body, not me modify your body, and you do the work, you and the horse understand what you're doing through mediation, which is the only reason I'm here, is the mediator, then that's body work. That's you finding a way to improve your body, which will then carry many more healing attitudes when you go out into life, because you've found the way to help yourself get through something. For us, that's the difference.
I think that helps me to understand it myself, and I hope that explains it for anyone who finds this video to watch. Is there anything else you'd like to share with anybody, with our listeners, or anything else?
I don't think so. I mean, now.
Oh yes, I can. Oh. Perfect. I see you got one of your trainees.
I just feel like if anybody wants to come, contact me and let's come. There's a lot of them standing around waiting for you.
That's terrific. Yes. And
they all line up.
Yes, and shout out to all the horses. Actually, maybe that's the last thing we'll just talk about. If you can just tell us a little bit about your breed of horses, their name, and a little bit about the horse.
So Cam's coming in, so I have to leave the barn.
Oh, okay.
Billy Boy is our smallest and oldest. Can you hear me? He's a donkey.
Yes.
Small donkey. And I've got Taquito, who's a standard donkey. Donkeys are great because they don't run away. They have the urge to lie down and not run away, which is why they say that they're stubborn. And the one being caught is Mia, who is a quarter horse. Rico, who is a warm blood. He's part draft, part thoroughbred. Baron is a quarter horse. Garuda is an Anglo-Arab. Fritz is a Morgan cross. Spotty is an Icelandic. Icelandics are really good for our work because they have a different gait. Short, fat for me because I'm short and fat. The longer horses are harder for me to put people on. The bigger horses carry more weight. We do have a weight limit of 180 pounds on these horses because we don't have very many that can carry more weight comfortably. They can carry more weight, but they stop working with us with their brains all the way. It's like when you hike up a hill with a backpack, all you want to do is get to the end instead of figuring out what you're doing. So they've all come from second chance in life. They've all had places that weren't so good for them, except for Spotty, who is the Icelandic that belongs to our head instructor, Becky. And she's had him since he's a 3-year-old. And he is a show horse, therapeutic horse, trail riding horse. He does anything you ask him to do.
It's beautiful.
Yeah. Many of the others will do part of what you ask them to do, but not everything because of their own limitations, because of life. I moved because of camp.
That's okay. We're just coming to a close here. Thank you so much for your time and for joining us on the Move Well series on Instagram Live. And I will let you know when this is posted. And I really appreciate you coming, taking time to spend this time with me. Have a great day.
You too. Thank you, Tracie.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.